Welcome to this week's edition of Ahead of the Curve.
On there.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so both Saturday on April 2nd, this past Saturday.
Yes, sir.
We had a Times Gazette come out, the weekend edition, and there's two main headlines that jumped out at me and it scared me to death. And a lot of people have been requesting that we have a conversation about this, so I just want to talk about it.
Well, let's talk about it.
All right. First headline: cloud of meth hangs over county. Second headline: meth cases fill circuit court docket. These are written by two reporters from the Shelbyville Times Gazette. Actually, three. Meth cases fill circuit court docket. 11 of 19 cases in the circuit court. The last session set for March 21st. 11 of the 19 cases are involving meth. Just over the years, Bo, I've heard about how bad drugs are here in Bedford County, and I think overall, in small towns across the country like this, there's a major problem going on, and it's a local problem, even though we have a national problem. But this is home.
This is home, and this has been a problem. And years ago started out. I think this even close to started, with marijuana, then cocaine, then crack, and now we've just gone down the line to where the pharmaceuticals, the pills, and the methamphetamine, which is an awful thing. You see the before and after picture and how it can be. But it's a problem. It's a cloud over this county. It has been, and it not just this county.
Yeah.
A lot of these counties.
Yeah.
And where it's coming, it might be the open borders pushing stuff in, and then it just trickles its way here. I think you can make it, and it's just becoming such a.
Well, I think it's the local battle we have. I mean, we're on the battlefield of it, and I was just thinking. We were talking about three shows ago about growth and getting businesses coming in here and all that. And you pick up the newspaper and you see a headline like that. If I'm a business, I'm looking at that and say, no, don't think so.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's cloud of meth hanging over the county. If that was my first day in Bedford County, I would get a little bit worried.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a little hope that hopefully the law enforcement is taking on this task and taking it serious, because it looks like that this just doesn't affect one or two people. This can affect generations. This can affect all ages. These are loved ones. It affects neighbors. It affects all of us in one way or other.
Yeah, I think, you can start pointing blame at, you can say, well, this person started drinking, then they started smoking marijuana, and then they ended up getting on cocaine. They gradually worked their way up the chain. But I've heard more and more, and if you do research on this, you'll find out that our opioid problem here in this country is a starter drug. People get hooked on painkillers.
At the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor hands them out to them, and they get maybe 2 scripts filled, and then they're out. But by then they're hooked on it.
And it's an opioid like heroin.
Yeah.
So you start with those, you run out early, you can't get them. Well, whoever down the road's got, you try this, and next thing you know, they got a needle in their arm.
Yeah.
And it just graduates that fast. But that's what those doctors are, and people that take pain medication, you got to be careful with it, because it can change the brain chemistry. It can actually affect you, or you get sick if you don't have it.
Yeah, I was kind of reading about it. It increases what's it called, dopamine.
Yeah, the dopamine.
And it makes that pleasure feel there.
It does.
And it's an addiction of I want to feel good.
And it's fast, and it overfills them. But what it also does, it's a short acting. It pulls it off quick. So then the withdrawal sets in, which means they need more. And it's a never-ending cycle, which they'll freely ignore their family and everything and start stealing. It affects so many people, and it can happen in a short amount of time.
Well, I don't pretend to know about the chemistry of it, but I think what you described there is a good way to see it play out in people's lives. You see families that are touched by it, that have lost loved ones due to overdose, and I think there's a fear from family members afraid to confront it, and it's one of those things. It's a hard topic to bring up to somebody that that could be dealing with this, but at the same time, if you don't, the next call you get from them might not be from them, but from the hospital.
That's right. And it's hard to go through those. You might call it an intervention or what, and usually an addict might fight that, and it is a fight, really. They don't want that, but if they they really do want to get better and they do have a loving support, then they give them a chance. Look, this can affect anybody from the wealthiest to the poor. This is not, it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
But when you can confront somebody like that, you might actually save their life.
I think these people start out, they're victims of getting on this painkiller or whatever, or just dabbling or whatever it happens, the starting point, and they escalate quick. There's got to be some help for these folks, and as far as I know, there's not a rehab center in Bedford County. I know Tony Rice Center's been along for a long time and helped a lot of people, but if we started really addressing this and helping people, it's going to take far more than that.
A lot more than that.
And I don't know what the answer is. We don't have answers, but
no, we don't.
I do know this, that the people that are perpetrating this, they're here and they've set up camp in Bedford County. And I think it's up to not just law enforcement, but our entire county working together to try to fight this problem and report things when you see it. You can't be afraid of this, because the next person that dies from it could be a family member.
Yes.
And I think that our law enforcement is a bit overwhelmed with it.
I would say so. I mean, you hear about reports about the arrest for meth all the time, and I mean, they can't be everywhere at once. They can't be everywhere, and they're doing the best they can. But if we could get that help out there, if we could offer people help, somebody might be struggling with that, go out one day and just pull in to get help. I don't think they have that resource here.
No,
they don't want to go to Atlanta or out, fly out.
Well, it's costly too.
It's very costly. I mean, that we need help. I mean, churches will help and give us whatever support. But that's limited, and those are not professional therapists either that deal with this.
This is a headline, so it grabbed my attention, and I've known situations taking place, and I've actually talked to law enforcement not that long ago, and there's a frustration level, I think, with law enforcement that, well, we can arrest somebody and they're right back out on the street 2 hours later. And we can,
but
it's
that's
hard
not.
I know.
That's not. You don't want to give up, though. I mean,
no,
it feels
can't.
like you're. But they're not giving up, and I'd just like to thank all those law enforcement that are out there fighting this good battle for the good of the future and just for the good of, helping people. They don't want to bust these people, but they're doing bad, and maybe they can come around and say, I appreciate that one day.
I've been told that this is an industry, and it's probably the most lucrative industry in Bedford County today as far as an economy. I mean, you take the walking horse industry, you take the pencil industry, you take other industry that we have around here. I mean, we don't have anything huge, but this dwarfs all of that money-wise.
Underground meth. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our workforce, I think it's an indication that maybe the reason our workforce is so small is we have so many people that are entangled into this.
I think so. I think that I don't know, but I know that could happen, and it's kind of an underground thing, working on cash, so, people could get stuck in situations, and maybe just living off of it or selling it so that they can use it.
Right, yeah, they got to sell to promote their own habit, and then at that point you can't hold a job down anywhere. So,
no.
Well, it's a sad situation. And I would love to see some outside help come into Bedford County. It might take that. It might take our sheriff and our police department and just our county government overall just saying, hey guys, we've got a major problem down here. Let's get TBI. Let's get the federal government down here and start chopping the head of this off. I mean, because honestly, I don't like the idea of having grandkids. And I don't like the idea of my kids being in this environment where it's around them. And it's everywhere. It's all around us.
It's like a call for help. I mean, when it's a headline on your paper, it's a big problem.
It's a red flag when I see it twice.
Twice.
Two times. I mean, it's like not just like, hey, we got a meth problem. It's like, hey, we got a meth problem, and hey, we got a meth problem. All right, okay, we got a meth problem. Good job, Times Gazette, on reporting this.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had it in you.
Yeah, I
thank you for doing that and pointing this out. I don't think there's any political content in here whatsoever. This is just,
I wouldn't think so.
Here we are, man. You look at the cases going into court 11 of 19 are related to meth, and probably the other 8 might be even related to some other kind of drug. I mean,
and it could be a burglary that's related to meth.
Yeah.
It trickles down so far.
And think about the shootings and all the murders that we've had, this real big influx in the last 2 or 3 years. I guarantee you, most all of those killings were involved with some sort of drug. It's a bad deal or something. Somebody getting messed up and they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They get into a rage or whatever happens, and you got all this violence taking place. I mean, it's not a good environment. And I think as people that live in Bedford County, we got to take this serious and offer help where we can. And if it's just taking care of people on the lower level that need help, I think we got to do that. And I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've got
if
to
you see something,
available,
say something. I mean, don't be, there's ways to do it. If you see something, report it. Hopefully law enforcement does the best that they can to tackle any situation that's presented before them. But I know that they've got a tough job ahead of them, and we all do. We're all living in this. We're all facing this. The police are the one officially fighting it, but we can all join in that fight together to rid our county of this.
Well, I think we have 3 fronts that really we have to look at. We've got to fight this here in Bedford County.
Yes.
We have to fight it regionally. We have to fight it nationally.
Yes.
With the border.
The
open border coming in, this fentanyl stuff.
Yeah, I heard a report today about that fentanyl, how it'll come, China, and then we've got secure or water around the other borders. Canadian border pretty secure. I'm sure something gets through, but this open Mexican border, it just falls right through, and that's another. Politically, they use it as the Hispanics, but that's not it. It's to strengthen our country by ridding it with easy access to these drugs. It seems like they'll always be here.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way. But when you see an easy way to shut down or curtail a situation, it seems like a no-brainer to do that. But that's a national problem, and it's been tried, and it's been fought against and for, and until we at least eliminate that, it won't eliminate everything, but it'll really help the issue, I think.
Well, we've talked about this growth, going back to that again, how Tennessee, Drew Hooker was on the other day, and I was asking him some questions about his campaign, and he said he had heard that there were probably 1 million people moving into the state of Tennessee over the next 10 years, and our population is, 7 million? Something like that. I hadn't looked recently, but I think it's around 7 million. If we increase by that much, we're going to get a lot of that here, and all the smaller areas, the rural areas, are going to start to fill in, and they're bringing families in here. The welcome mat needs to be out, and this is not a good welcome mat.
No, it's
all
not.
right. So I think our governor would be wise to just declare war on meth and get these drug task force active. And they might be behind the scenes.
Yeah, they are.
But I think we need to serve notice and say, guys, we're coming after you. Okay?
I think so. And
I mean, this is like, you can't deal, this is like a war, just like the Ukraine-Russian war right now. You can't tap dance around these people.
No, you cannot.
It's going to get rough.
It's got to be hit with direct pressure.
And I think we need to start from the ground up here. And I would love to see our county commission and our city council come out and say we're gonna do something to address this problem. And you're going to have to make some changes to do that. I think the Good Ole Boy Network has got to dissolve. Now this is changing gears. And this is crazy right here.
Yep.
But I think that if we could just address the problem and say we've got a problem here. Let's just put all these political maneuvering or whatever around to the side, and let's all talk about this. Let's have an open discussion.
I think so.
And that's something that our county commission has had a hard time doing. And what I mean by that, on March the 8th, the agenda of the county commission was pretty lengthy. It was pretty good. You can go on the Bedford County website and look at it. But there were 3 resolutions that were supposed to be discussed and several other items to be taken care of. And there was one resolution in there that probably should have lasted about 2 hours in discussion. It didn't. The entire meeting lasted 12 minutes and 14 seconds.
12 minutes and 14 seconds?
Yeah. I'm just wondering, this looked like it was all done behind closed doors, and the commission didn't even know what was going on. I mean, that was the meeting where the commission approved, gave authorization and endorsements so that the Project Cardinal location could be approved.
The action is necessary.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, given to whoever handles that.
So nobody asked the question,
well,
what are the actions necessary?
I think was the question is, what is Project Cardinal? And I think our recruiter, Mr. Hooper, said, I can't get that information yet. I think there should have been a lot more questions of what happened. But my point is, we gotta get serious about discussing our problems and our concerns. And if we do it like this, it's just lip service, and I just wonder where all this stuff gets decided.
I know it seems like it's not getting decided in the meetings. It seems like it's decided before the meetings.
Well,
I'd hope to.
Well, you have committees, but you also have what you call sunshine law.
The Sunshine Law. Which,
if there's two commissioners outside talking about it, they can't discuss it unless the whole bunch is there.
You
right?
can form an opinion. That's the whole basis. Is maybe if 3 or 2 or more commissioners are discussing something, you can form an opinion. You can go into a meeting and there's no discussion because the discussion's already been taking place outside of the public domain.
That's a violation of sunshine law.
That is the violation of the sunshine law.
I think what happens is when you have a Good Ole Boy Network in place, it gets to the point to where you think, well, we got everything covered. We know what we need to do. We're going to do it, whatever it takes to get it done. To heck with everybody else. And when in fact you're spending taxpayer money, and you got commissioners that's supposed to be representing a district of people. Mm-hmm. They average about 5,000 per district. There's District 1's got 5,000 in it. I think it's broken down like that, something like that, or 5,500. I've seen the numbers.
It's population.
You got 2 commissioners in each one. Mm-hmm. There should be some questions coming up.
Even now, a dumb question. It's any question. Yeah. I mean, we need questions to know.
Yeah. Now, Drew Hooker, when I asked him what he thought we ought to do, he said, or I asked him what he could do. He said, I think I could ask questions.
It's pretty easy, you know.
I know. And I'm disappointed that somebody didn't raise it and said, "Oh, time out. Let's talk about this." There's nothing wrong with discussion out in the open.
That's transparency in any government is a healthy for any type of community.
Back to my point though, for us to address things as a county and our county commission and our city council and anybody else that we have elected to be our representatives,
right.
If we all can't have a discussion together about it and have it open, it's hard to get anything accomplished and get people in the community to support it.
And we won't put that on the commission. It's the citizens. We need to show up.
Exactly.
Need to be there.
So I'm going to take responsibility because my entire life it's been this way.
Yeah.
I remember my granddad was on the, I don't know what, he's on the road board or something. They took a picture of him in a meeting. This goes back into the 60s, but I remember my grandmother cut it out. He was in the meeting and he was asleep. And he's on the front page of the Times Gazette, and my granny took it out and stuck it up in his face and showed him, laughing at him. It's kind of like, it even goes back to then. Everything was already decided. What's the point?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you vote against something and everybody else votes for it, then they're going to you're hard to work with. You're hard to deal with.
But he's really just thinking.
Just asking them. Asking.
Don't be quite the contrary, but sometimes the questions.
It's kind of funny in a way, but when you get right back down to it, this is serious business.
It is.
And I'm at the age now where I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about my kids and my grandkids at this point, and I want to see Bedford County do well. And I think everybody's goal is that. But sometimes we get caught up in this type of stuff, and it's unfortunate. But back on the drug thing, I'm troubled over it.
It's I think that everybody should know that the addiction, like I hit on earlier, it can hit anybody. And when you see that the cloud over the county, that is screaming out that it is everywhere. They're not just saying it's in certain parts of town. Yeah. So there's no discrimination there. It'll affect anyone.
It's our whole county and
surrounding counties. I mean, I think it's just a nationwide problem. But when it affects at home, it hurts.
It's home. It is nationwide, but we can do something about it here.
We can. And
I will say, I'll have one more comment, and I'm going to let you ramble if you want to. Here's my last comment.
All right.
It's a question.
All right.
Where is Buford Pusser when you need him?
Where is Buford Pusser? I don't know, but you know what? I've got a big stick in the back of my truck, and he can take it. You know, I mean, didn't he use the big stick? Isn't he
He
the
had
one
a bat, yeah.
The bat?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what we need. We need a Buford Pusser to come in here and just go in and clean house. Now, you know, I don't know if he can go through smashing walls like his way, but, you know, maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that's what it takes.
All right.
Well, we need somebody tough.
All right.
All right.
That's all I got, man.
That's all I got.